a team that everybody's been sleeping on, including myself, has been the Atlanta Hawks. I thought they would have been a first-round exit because I thought my Knicks would have beat them. That man right there, Julius Randle. You're covering the jersey, but there's a Julius Randle jersey right there. They didn't perform nearly up to par against the Hawks. But the Hawks had a Game 4 18-point comeback against the Sixers and a Game 5 26-point comeback against them as well. And everybody wants to talk about Philly and what they're doing wrong, but nobody seems to look in the Hawks' direction and say, no, they have to be doing something right if they're coming back from these enormous leads. So what do you think they're doing right, and what's been the key to their resiliency?
I think it's just been resiliency. Like, I think it's just been, like what you said, it, like aggressiveness, staying the course, staying to the mission. Nate McMillan, a guy who we used to, say he's a guy that would get you to the playoffs, but he'll probably lose in the first round. He's been phenomenal as a coach. Trae Young has been phenomenal as a leader. I was one of the guys that was low on Trae Young. I felt like he couldn't win games, but he's definitely proved me wrong. First half they're going down, but they're still pursuing. Kevin Huerter, he's been really good. Let's call him the Red Robin. That's my boy. Losing DeAndre Hunter, I thought the series was over. A guy who can guard 1 through 4. I thought he was their primary defender. Losing him, I thought that'd be big. But Clint Capella, John Collins, shout out to them. Kevin Huerter, Lou Will, he's brought that leadership, that veteranship. Trae Young, who's growing up in our eyes, the same with what we seen with Donovan Mitchell and Devin Booker. He's putting on the show for these guys. But I think the reason why they're coming back, I think it's Atlanta. They deserve their credit. But I think it's a combination of Philly just doing everything wrong and falling apart at the wrong time. Last game in the second half, Joel Embiid and Curry, the only guys who were scoring. And they have a serious Ben Simmons problem where he is not a factor in the offense. I thought rolling out a Seth Curry, Shake Milton, Embiid, Tobias Harris, and maybe Thibault, but rolling out a lineup like that because Ben Simmons, he's just not aggressive enough. And when he's not aggressive, he's just a guy who doesn't need to be guarded. He doesn't even cut to try to get an offensive rebound. So this is a guy who's really holding this team back and holding Embiid back, in my opinion. But I don't even think Doc Rivers, I think he can get some blame, obviously, because he's the coach. But I really think this falls on the players right now because you're up big in 2 back-to-back games. Embiid goes cold the first game. Then you let Embiid and Curry flare go in the mid-side because Tobias Harris, who's supposed to be one of your go-to guys down the stretch, he comes up cold in the second half. And then Ben Simmons, he's just out there doing a whole lot of running around. So it's tough. Game 6 is in Atlanta. Atlanta is a really good team at home. So they're going to have to make some adjustments. Doc Rivers realistically, he can't let this happen again because this will be 2 years in a row.
I just feel like Philly's big issue right now is they get comfortable. They've had big leads these last couple games, and each time they've gotten too comfortable, and then once Atlanta flips that switch, they're not able to recover. And once Trae Young gets going, once Bogdanovich gets going, Gallinari could let it go too. Lou Will had an amazing fourth quarter last night. John Collins has just been very consistent throughout this entire series. Philly gets this huge lead. They think that, obviously they're playing an inferior team in the Hawks, which I do believe. The Sixers are a better team than the Hawks. You can't take a hot team and take them lightly. The Hawks are one of the hottest teams in the NBA right now. If I had to go, I'd say the Suns are the hottest team in the NBA, followed by the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks have just been shooting the ball lights out. Trae Young, like Rivers said, he covered all the bases. This man, Trae Young, he's playing some of the best basketball I've ever seen in the playoffs, truthfully. At such a young age, I should clear up. Very true, but he's winning.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the supporting cast that Trae has, but regardless, I wouldn't say he has this.
It's not far off, though.
Bogdanovich is probably better than every
Tim
player.
Hardaway was balling, though.
I'm taking Bogdanovich personally, and John Collins.
The Hawks have a way better roster.
I agree.
Think so? Way better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Clint Capella,
Gallinari. I'm not going to say you're wrong with Tim Hardaway Jr., though. That man
I don't think Dallas is bad, though.
And Porzingis.
Bogdanovich, Gallinari, Collins, Capella,
Lou Will.
Bogdanovich, if I didn't mention him already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Lou Will, DeAndre Hunter. He's not playing right now, but that's the guy.
I don't think Dallas's supporting cast is bad, though.
It's just not good.
It's not Atlanta.
I think they just ran in the Clippers twice.
And you're 100% right. Clippers are just a better overall squad than
they're running into Philly right now.
So to get to my point, I'd still believe Philadelphia is going to win this series. Philly just has just got to continue to put the pedal to the metal the entire game. Enough of when you get this huge lead, that's it, we're cruising. They lost last night's game on top of Doc not making adjustments. Tobias Harris shot 2 of 11. He's been one of their most consistent players aside from Joel Embiid, even though he came
back to life last game.
It's been I'm blanking on the word, but a pattern. There we go. It's been a pattern where Joel Embiid goes cold, they lose the game. Tobias Harris, their second number 2 option, goes cold, they lose the game. You need these two guys, especially when Ben Simmons is not the scorer that everyone wants him to be. He's not that kind of player, and he's not going to adapt to that game because that's not his game. He's a playmaker. That's just what he's going to do.
9-8-1-2.
That's just how Ben is. You look at Seth Curry, he's been unbelievable for them. Why don't you defer to
3-4
to Seth a little bit more? Why don't you defer to Tobias more? That's how Philadelphia is going to win this series. But when you have Tobias going 2 of 11 and Ben and him combining for 12 points, it's not a recipe to win. But I do believe Philadelphia is still going to win. They just have to be the Sixers that play through 3 quarters instead of that 4th quarter, unfortunately.
This series should have been over in 5.
Easy.
Truthfully, it should have been over in 5, but Philly can't hold the lead. But instead of bashing Philly, I want to credit Atlanta because I think they've been doing a lot of things right. For one, they've been taking advantage of Ben Simmons so much. I mean, for one, hack a Ben, that's one of them. But then yesterday, what I saw in Game 5 is that, okay, when Ben Simmons is in the game, they hack a Ben. Now you force Doc to take him out. Shake Milton comes in. Now that's food. And because Ben Simmons can't do nothing on offense, and Seth Curry, even though he's been playing great, you know what he's gonna do. It gives Nate McMillan the option to go with the lineup of Lou Will and Trey. In no other series against a good backcourt are you going with Trey and Lou Will because they cannot guard anybody.
Yeah,
but against Philly, you can do that because Simmons is not going to do anything. Simmons has not taken a field goal in the 4th quarter in the past
crazy,
2 games.
Man.
He's not even taking a shot. And you look at Simmons, 4-14 from the line. That can't happen. And this was an interesting stat. The Hawks, this entire playoffs, have missed 35 free throws. Ben Simmons alone has missed 45. That's how much of a liability Ben Simmons has been at the charity strike.
Suck.
And
So strong.
Trae Young, Game 4 and Game 5 started out cold. But what has made Trae Young so impactful is that he always gets it going. And no matter how bad he's shooting, because he's such a great passer, he gets his teammates going like that. In Game 4 with 25 and 18. Then you look at Game 5, he has 39 and 7. I mean, Trae Young is a primetime player. He wants those big-time moments, and right now he's proven it. Ben Simmons is supposed to be a DPOY. He was runner-up at least.
Kept talking
and
about
Trae Young was killing him the entire game. How does Philly have 3 all-world defenders on paper, and they give up 40 points in 1 quarter? But what I've also been noticing about Atlanta is that in each one of their wins, certain guys have been stepping up. Like, you look at Game 1, it was Bogdan Bogdanović and Trae Young and Collins. Collins has been steady this entire series. Game 4, it was Trae, Bogdan, and Huter. In Game 5, it was Lou, Danilo, and Collins. And they've been waiting for Danilo to have a very, very good playoff performance because not only in this series, not only in last series, but Gallinari for his career has been very underwhelming in the playoffs. And in Game 5, he showed up. And this is without DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish. Even though I'm not as high as on Cam Reddish, I think he's a good defender. But DeAndre Hunter, that's 16 points per game right there. And Atlanta's beating Philly. And this is a testament to the resiliency, how good Trae Young is at so young. And their pieces just fit.
Let me ask you a question. Because I saw this post the other day. Does this team remind you of the 2012-2013 Warriors?
No.
That was pretty straightforward.
It just doesn't. I think they're a different team. They have different players.
No, what I mean by that is like the rise.
A poor man's.
Yeah, the rise of how they're coming. Jumping on the scene.
It's not too far fetched to say because I understand if you want to go player by player, you got Trae.
It's not even a player by player thing.
I don't think so because. Okay.
That year they beat Denver. And they were the underseed.
They faced the Knicks in the first round, who had no offensive threat outside of Randall, and he played horrible.
But look at it like this: the Knicks were the favorites. Yeah, I think we can all agree.
Not by much.
Okay, but I'm saying the Knicks were the higher seed.
The Nuggets were a very good team that year.
And that's what I'm saying. They go in as they weren't the favorites. They have nothing. They're underdogs, so they have nothing to lose.
The Hawks have been overlooked.
They win that series, then they go play the Spurs, and they give the Spurs hell. That same Spurs team that went to the finals.
The Heat hell.
Yeah, they gave that Spurs team hell the same way Atlanta is giving this team hell. And there's a bunch of young guys coming up.
Philly, they're pretenders.
I can't agree with that.
The Spurs were contenders.
Correct.
That's fair.
I'm with you.
The Sixers, to me, have been pretenders. Even if they would have beat Atlanta,
they wouldn't have.
Yeah.
You're calling them pretenders if they win in 5.
Yes, because they would have lost to Milwaukee or Brooklyn.
I don't know about that.
Brooklyn or Milwaukee are the ones that are going to
healthy Brooklyn.
Looking at Milwaukee, are we sure they was going to beat Philly?
Yes, without a doubt.
A healthy Brooklyn, yes. Easy, no question.
Wait, you guys were just KD was beating Philly?
That's what I'm saying.
KD could beat, yes, he can.
No way, man.
I've seen the Nets bench players beat Philly fully healthy.
Talk about in the regular season? Yeah.
They're still seen it, though. We still seen it. Like, what else can we go by off?
Come on. We
still seen it.
Regular season, postseason basketball, is really different.
We've seen
for the Sixers, apparently not.
Are those the same role players like Joe Harris? Because Joe Harris is playing like garbage the last 3 games.
It was with Karis LeVert.
Oh, come on.
They beat him starting TLC.
And I'm assuming Jared Allen was on the squad too?
I think
that was
so.
the old boys?
I believe
so. The pre-Harden guys?
Yes, or I think it was just after the Harden trade, but he didn't play that game. So, I mean, either way, Philly, to me, from the beginning of the year, even when they were the first seed, like towards the end of the year, I always thought they were pretenders. I don't see them as a threat at all.
I just think, like, with a team, jumping on the map like that, 2 years don't make the playoffs. 3rd year, they get in, making some noise, beating the Knicks. Trae Young having a phenomenal performance and then giving the number 1 seed, whether we call them pretender or not, there's a number 1 seed in the East, giving them hell to pay. I think this team is definitely, proving everybody wrong and shutting doubters up. And this is a sneaky Eastern. I mean, I think we can all agree they're still pretenders because we don't think they're going to beat the Nets or Milwaukee if they come out.
You're saying the Hawks?
Yeah, we're talking about the Hawks. But still, this is a run that they can definitely carry over into next year and the year after because this is a team full of, aside from Gallinari, Lou Will, this is a young, even Capella's like 26.
Yeah, he's young.
Yeah, this is a young team. So
that's true. No doubt about it.
Would you be surprised if the Hawks beat or played Milwaukee and beat them?
Yes.
You'd be surprised.
100%.
I can't be surprised at this point with anything the Hawks do.
But who do you?
Because I don't want to say there's a real blueprint to stop Giannis. But John Collins and Clint Capella double teaming him in the paint would be a very good.
But I think the Nets are beating Milwaukee because they have Kevin Durant.
Of course, they have the best player in the series.
I think if they go play Atlanta. Trae Young is great, but I think Giannis would be the best player in this.
And you think Drew would have Trae Young giving him more difficulty than Ben's giving him, or do you think?
I think Drew's a better defender than Ben Simmons, and he guards very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think Atlanta has faced a playoff competition that I would have liked them to face to say that they're up and coming, they're scary.
They're definitely up and coming though.
No, they are.
Yeah.
Given the Sixers as much of a series,
but you picked Philly to win.
I did.
So you got to give them some credit.
I picked Philly to win because they are the better team.
They are.
Atlanta is winning.
They've played like it until the 4th quarter.
Yes, Philly has been the better team, but they just choke.
That's terrible.
They should have beat Atlanta in 5. This series should have ended already. But if Atlanta would have faced if they would have had a journey of facing Miami in the first round, and then facing Milwaukee or Brooklyn in the second, and giving them a challenge, okay, I'll give it to them a little bit more. But I think right now, even though Atlanta's been playing great, I think this has really been more on Philly, not putting the pedal to the metal and not finishing off games. That's why I can't compare it to that Golden State run because then I'd be foreshadowing a dynasty.
And
I wouldn't say foreshadow. I think just the rise of how they've came into the league and Trae Young has developed and all the young guys are just coming together. I think they kind of have the same type because even all those guys, Steph, Clay, Dre, those were young guys coming in. So I think that I wouldn't say they're going to be a dynasty, but they have a lot of young talent that can definitely develop and keep them in contention.
You don't think if they keep this core together, they can't run the East for years to come?
No.
It depends.
They're young.
because I feel like the
Very
Nets
young.
are gonna run the East next year.
I agree.
Fully healthy.
I agree.
And then after that, I think they're all friends enough where they'll stay. And even if they don't stay, you still have the Knicks. We don't know what the Knicks are gonna do.
The only person that scares me is Collins, because Collins purposely did not.
Boston still has two young,
Yep.
talented wings. You don't know what they're gonna do. Toronto, if they draft Cade, I feel like they're back in it immediately. Not in play like they're back in playoff contention, and they still have a lot of good talent. So I can't say. I think they'll be in the playoff picture for a long time from now. I think they'll be like that, but I don't know if they'll be a championship team.
Okay.